Oracle CEO and billionaire Larry Ellison has just made a rather large investment or purchase. He's just bought the island of Lanai, which is the sixth largest island in Hawaii, for reportedly $500 million to $600 million. There were days and days of conjecture in the local Hawaii press. First of all, saying that there was going to be some kind of bidding war between Bill Gates and Larry Ellison for this island. The price has actually never been confirmed, but the local Maui News did some digging, and they're thinking it's around $500 million. And now 98% of the island, it belongs to the Oracle CEO.
It does. And actually, you know, looking at that $500 million number, if that is indeed the sales price or close to the sales price he got, this is arguably, according to my private island real estate sources, this is arguably the largest island purchase we've ever seen in the history of islands across the world.
I want to do a quick video, hopefully, about something initially I thought was a rumor, but I guess it's true upon further research. Is this CEO of a company called Oracle buying a fairly sizable Hawaiian island, you know, called the island of Lanai. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's Lanai, and it's a from what I understand the sixth largest island in the Hawaiian chain. And this a guy named Larry Ellison was able to buy this island. And at first, like I said, I thought it was just a rumor, but I did further research, and apparently it's not a rumor, but they're not really talking about this shit in the mainstream media, damn near at all, man. I don't think out of the big network stations, I haven't heard too much about this, man. I've had to go to alternative media sources to hear anything about this damn this Ellison character buying this Hawaiian island supposedly for about $500 million. Now this guy is worth about 36 billion. And in my research, I went to this one comment board, and these dumbass white folks talking about, oh, how come rich people got that much money to buy an island and, you know, spend that much money on all this shit? And I cuss their asses out, man. I'm like, you white people got fucking nerve. You completely missing the whole fucking point. The point isn't him making that much money or not making that much money. The point is, how is this man able to buy land that's not his in the first place? How are these crackers that sold the island to him able to sell land that's not theirs in the first damn place? That's the question. That's the real question that you should be asking. And I said, if you motherfuckers were honest and human, you would fucking realize that, man. You would admit that. And these devils, they it's not just fucking Hawaii. These motherfuckers did some of the same shit in Australia, New Zealand, fucking South Africa, the modern day country called Zimbabwe used to be called Rhodesia, named after Cecil Rhodes, a racist ass motherfucking white man that named a country in Africa after himself. So these devils got fucking nerve, man. They got fucking nerve. Now this Oracle company that this Larry Ellison runs, this guy, from what I understand, I don't know how true this shit is, but I've heard that this guy is a former used to work for the CIA. I think during his college or after his college years or something like that, he used to work for the CIA. And the project he was working on with the CIA was called Oracle. You know, it was called Oracle in the first place. And you got to understand also the definition of Oracle. This is from Merriam-Webster's dictionary. This is the first definition of the word oracle. One held to give divinely inspired answers or revelations. Now, Oracle puts out a lot of different types of programs and software, among which is a program called Open Office, which is actually a free program that kind of mimics Microsoft Office, you know, with the kind of like mimics Word and Excel and all that type of shit, and it's conveniently free. And another thing that these devils always fail to mention in their movies and books and shit about Hawaii is how they spread these diseases. When the white man first showed up, these devils spread. Let me see some of these diseases that they spread. They spread diseases of all type, but among them, they spread influenza, smallpox, measles, and a lot of sexually transmitted diseases, like gonorrhea and syphilis. And a sizable portion throughout the years, as time progressed, a sizable portion of the native Hawaiian population died off from these diseases. But these devils don't mention that shit in their movies, talking about, because the white man always got his fucking movies, man. When a white man in Hawaii, who he got on his arm? A Hawaiian woman. When a white man running around in Asia in his fucking movies and TV shows, who he got on his arm? An Asian woman. When a white man in India, who he got on his arm? A fucking Indian woman. When white man in Mexico, he got a fucking Mexican. You see what I'm saying? For fucking decades, they pushed their image fucking around with other people, women. Not just the image, but when they went up in these places, they fucked around with their women and had a nerve to get mad at fucking men of color, especially black men. When we fucking, I mean, at this time and in this period in history, these motherfuckers would literally lynch us or kill us or castrate us, sometimes setting black men on fire for literally looking at white women for too long a period of time. But these motherfuckers ran around the whole earth fucking with everybody women, and had a nerve to get mad when you look at they fucking women for too long a period of time. And that's another thing, black women be trying to say, oh, all these fucking, light skinned people, they came from black men. Black men and what, white women back in the day? Fucking around? I don't think so. I don't fucking think so. Like I said again. They wouldn't, for the longest period of time, they wouldn't even let black men look at white women for too long a period of time. So the vast majority of these light complected people running around, especially over a certain age, that shit's attributed to the black woman and the fucking white man for centuries, during and after the fucking slave days. Matter of fact, Malcolm X talked about the same shit in the 1960s. That was after the slave days, black woman. You motherfuckers want to get mad, and you motherfuckers been sneaking around with the white man and producing tears for centuries, man. But it's like a more recent thing that black man was, like, I don't know if you could say allowed on a social level to start fucking around with white women to some degree or another. It's like the late 80s, early 90s. You really start seeing black men. It's like, the coast was clear type shit. Looking around. Oh, I guess we can do it now or some shit. I don't know. And that type of shit happened like in late 80s, early 90s. It was like we got the go ahead from Whitey to do that or some shit, or they wouldn't lynch us no more. But I'm digressing. Back to the point. Like I said, when a white man first showed up, he spread all types of diseases to these people, and progressively over a period of time, their people began to die the fuck off. And let me see, in 1893, U.S. soldiers, United States, so soldiers from the United States invaded Hawaii, man. Really for no real fucking reason outside of them wanting to just take Hawaii. Hawaii was already established as an independent nation on the earth, and they already had their leadership at that time. They had a queen, and they just basically took down the queen. They took her down, and they made their own little provisional government and shit like that. And eventually, they became Hawaii became part of the United States, which the native Hawaiian people did not want to be part of the United States. They wanted to be an independent, sovereign nation. But the U.S. built military bases on there. The white man, they start bringing they fucking people over there left and right. And every time the white population in a certain area really does not their land, when their population and those lands start decreasing, they open the floodgates to every fucking group of immigrants who want to come in. Like in Hawaii, they got the floodgates open. It's fucking Asians all up in Hawaii, man. It's like, you motherfuckers got Asia. Why don't you leave these people alone? It's motherfuckers from all over the place, especially like the white man and fucking Asians, all up in Hawaii. All up in Hawaii. Just like in South Africa. When a white man in South Africa started going down, he opened the floodgates up for immigrants. And they used those motherfuckers as a barrier between the native people and the people that the native people have serious grievances with, which is their white asses. They'll do the same thing in Australia, letting all types of Asian immigrants in over there. Like I said, when the white population begins to decline, they open the floodgates to bring in more immigrants and more immigrants. So basically, the native people can never have their fucking land back. And I guess the white man think he just gonna fade and retire. I just wanted to bring up, that issue of these devils basically just stealing people land and shit, man, and just You know, it ain't second thought to them buying, selling, trading other people's land, getting wealthy off that shit, and then block you from the same shit that they stole. They'll block you from having access to that shit, and then talk about look at them, look at how they don't have nothing. You know, and sit back and it's like you motherfuckers, man. How can you motherfuckers not see that these people are fucking devils and so-called quote unquote good white people don't bring that shit up? Where all the so-called good white people at? They should be in the fucking streets, you know, protesting every fucking day. So-called good white people should be in fucking back in Europe, encouraging other white people who ain't in fucking Europe to take their asses back to Europe. That's good white people. Anything just because a cracker made you a sandwich don't mean that, oh, well, not all white people bad, or just because you got a ride to work or whatever from somebody white, you know, oh, well, not all white people. Fuck you, dumb motherfuckers, and that stupid shit, man. So, like I said before, like, it's not just the fucking Hawaiians. The white man always tries to isolate every group. It's like a hitman or an assassin. Before you make a hit, the thing is to try to isolate that target before you kill them. You know, and that's what these devils try to do, man. They try to isolate everybody's fucking struggle, everybody's they try to isolate their mark, their that particular target. They want it to seem like, oh, it's just black people, so-called black Americans. Oh, well, they're the only ones we got a problem with, you know. But you Mexicans, we like you. But with us, they'll say the same. And I've actually had crackers do that type of shit before, man. Well, you black people, I like black people, but those fucking Mexicans, I can't stand them. They do slimy shit like that, man. I was like, oh, I like you people, you guys are cool, but fucking Asians, blah blah blah. I've seen that shit time and time and time again. The white man do that shit, man. But like I said, they always try to isolate every fucking group and pretend like it's just them. Like, oh, you guys are whining, get over it, type shit. That ain't. I've heard white people say that shit about the Native Americans, man, the so-called Indians. You know, they try to act like, oh, it was just the Indians that they fucked over, and oh, they just mad because of blah. No, it's fucking motherfucking people from all over the planet, man. They will always try to isolate every particular group. When somebody protests and want to fight and this and that, they'll try to isolate that group and pretend like it's just black people. They'll try to isolate that group when the Native Americans get roused up. They'll try to isolate them and say, "Oh well, it's just the Native Americans, and they mad because of whatever the fuck, or it's just the Hawaiians, and you know, yeah, we had some issues before, but things are good now and all this shit." They always try to isolate uh, every group of people in their struggle, man. And I'm saying, you know, be they Israelites or not, people need to find some type of commonality and or I should say, see certain things in common with other people's struggles. Study, you know, study history as much as possible, man. You know, because these motherfuckers, if you don't see these motherfuckers play the role of the devil on this earth, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you, man. I just want to end the video on this note. You know, just like I said in the beginning, I just want to pose the question: how the fuck can you, with any honesty and sincerity, buy or sell land that's not yours in the first place?
We are the Hawaiian people. These islands have always been our home. We were sovereign over this land before there was an England, long before there was a United States. By the 19th century, our independent nation was recognized by the dominant powers of the world. And in 1893, in an act of war, in an armed invasion, and in violation of international law, our nation was taken. And we have been compelled, against our right to self-determination, to become United States citizens.
We are not American! We are not American! We are not American! We will die as Hawaiians! We will never be Americans!